Hi, and welcome to All Things Cozy with Gillian.
And Matt,
We are a bi weekly podcast about everything that is warm, soft, and comforting. This week, we're playing hooky and snuggling under the covers to discuss the art of making sick days as cozy as possible, which is perfect timing with winter right around the corner. But before we crack open a nourishing can of soup, let's check in with Cozy in the News. A Christmas miracle or a holiday nightmare? That's what New York City residents and visitors passing through Grand Central Station are forced to ponder through the end of November thanks to Bath and Body Works' new advertising campaign. As the Associated Press reported, the retailer has placed diffusers around the 42nd Street shuttle train platform, which are dispersing one of their most popular holiday scents, fresh balsam. A whopping 20 to 30 pounds will fill the station air come December 1st, and subway riders are mixed on whether the campaign is cozy. Some say it makes them jingle, while others want to whack the consumer giant with a bag of coal. One argued on social media, I feel like the regular smell of a subway mixed with perfume would not be pleasant, which is a fair assessment if there ever was one. Personally, I find gimmicks cozy, and I appreciate harebrained schemes that offer little to the world outside of starting a conversation. That said, I side with the folks who don't want to add a migraine on top of an already existing one. Matt, what are your thoughts?
you know that I'm pro scent, so I would be intrigued to experience the scentscape. And honestly, you can't make the New York subway smell any worse.
Fair.
So, yes, I know it's adding to the overwhelming odor. And I do understand that people with certain allergies or conditions can really be affected by strong scents. And so I'm a little surprised that like the health department approved this kind of thing because even in small meetings, if I use my Bath and Body Works hand sanitizers around people, like some of them get really upset or seem to almost have a reaction to, a hand sanitizer scent. I can't even imagine pumping through all of these pounds of fragrance into the subway. Like what kind of coughing fits might be happening in the space. But aside from those situations and people who just don't like strong scents, I don't know. I think it sounds cozy and like a nice little fun way to feel festive. So I support the sniff.
Yeah, I think it's fair to support the sniff. I think they're just trying to be festive and fun and be creative with an advertising campaign. But I do hear that about the allergies. And there was a change.org petition about it, which I found in my travels. They're like, oh, you're putting so many pollutants into the air. But I mean, it's the subway station. It's full of pollutants, honey. Move out of the city if you're concerned. It's hard to conceptualize 20 to 30 pounds of scent.
Right.
I don't know exactly what that means, but I've also been inside a lift and opened my pumpkin spice hand sanitizer that I got this year. And I think I texted you frantically, Matt. I was like, this has to be illegal or something. This is way too much. It was so overpowering, but that's a very small contained space. And the shuttle train at 42nd Street, it is a smaller area, but I think it's big enough that it'll probably just be a very light scent. Like, oh, is that lady next to me wearing perfume? More like that vibe.
I would like to experience it myself to be the ultimate judge, but I think if we can be walking past Bath and Body Works stores at the mall, we can survive a trip to the subway.
Fair enough. What's on your news desk this week?
Jillian, I have a little joke for you. How did the 9-year-old raise money for medical research?
I'm not good at these. Tell me. Sorry.
I'd never actually intended you to try to
Oh,
answer the joke, but it was enjoyable watching you squirm. Jillian, one joke at a time. It's not a joke. It's not, I don't know. That was just I thought it would be a funny way to set this story up.
that's cute.
CBS News reports that 9-year-old Nora Vaughn set up a joke stand in her front yard to raise money for Rett syndrome research. Nora's sister, Susie, was diagnosed with Rett syndrome, which is a neurodevelopmental disorder with no known cure. Nora says, I want her to be able to talk, walk stably, and use her hands. To support her cause, Nora set up a joke stand in her front yard, complete with a QR code for donations to the Rett Syndrome Research Trust. Her jokes include, what do you call a dog magician? A labracadabrador. And what did the mommy volcano say to the baby volcano? I lava you, has helped her raise nearly $1,000 for research.
That's a lot of dough.
It is. I like this twist on a neighborhood stand being set up It's not a little entrepreneur trying to make quarters from lemonade and then use that to spend money on toys and stuff. But she's trying to help her sister, help other people with the syndrome. And it's a clever way to do that. And I think a really heartwarming way to spend some of that time and show that care. And obviously, the press has picked up on the effort, and I'm sure this attention will also help raise money for research. So I really loved the approach. I think I'm a sucker for any kind of like Lucy from Peanuts style kid setting up a stand. And this really scratches that itch for me.
Absolutely. It's adorable. And I also love the detail of the QR code because there's so many times that I'm strapped for cash.
You got to go cashless.
Got to go cashless. So just a smart businesswoman right there. And it's really sweet and a creative idea, like you said, instead of just selling something, that there's anything wrong with that. But it's a little different and fun, and it's for a good cause.
Absolutely. And it's the season of giving, and this is a way for one family to give back to others.
Well said. Well, now that we're caught up on the news, let's get in our jammies and grab a box of the softest tissues because it's time to share our best tips for making the most of a sick day. So, the inspiration for this episode, for me personally, was that I got sick a lot this year. So, I have a lot of experience in this topic, unfortunately.
Gillian's a well-seasoned sicko.
No, truly. It started off in February. I think I got norovirus. Horrible, taken out. And then from there, it's just sicko mode. Gotta try a Gen Z reference. So anyway, through all these sick days, I started thinking about childhood sick days, and really, I think that sets the stage for our sick days as an adult. So with that, Matt, how did you prefer to be taken care of as a child? So did your mom make you a specific type of soup? Did you have to pop in a certain VHS tape?
I wouldn't say prefer because I wasn't like sitting there demanding like a little prince, like, you take care of me this way. I mean, usually when you're a kid and you're sick, you're really at the mercy of the adults around you.
That's fair.
In my family, for some reason, 7 Up was viewed as having medicinal quality. And
Like
so
throwing
whenever
up
I
and
got
stuff.
sick, my mom was really pushing the 7 Up on me as if it was going to fix it.
Even when you had colds?
Not when I had a cold, but it was when I had anything that was upsetting my stomach. Obviously, I get the carbonation factor there, but why 7 Up in particular? Who knows? That was very specific. So I have this association with 7 Up as being ill. So I can never enjoy that soda in and of itself because I just think of it as, oh, I must have the flu. So that was one constant I'd be like served. Obviously, the classics, lots of soup was going around, SpaghettiOs, I think anything like warm, loved a saltine cracker. And in general, when I was sick as a kid, I really enjoyed the opportunity to watch daytime TV. So I was excited to stay home and watch Price is Right or Oprah, play video games if I could. Because even honestly, sometimes when you are sick, video games are a little bit too mentally demanding and you just want to passively watch something. So it wouldn't always be the case that video games were part of it, but definitely I was checking out The Price is Right and Oprah and The View or anything I could watch that normally I'd be at school and got to enjoy staying home sick.
Yeah, I agree with you on the daytime TV. That was one of the biggest things I look forward to when I was sick. Even if I was actually really sick, I still needed to catch up on my shows. I was a big fan of Montel Williams and Sylvia Brown Wednesdays. And I still remember it was on Wednesdays. So it's always great if your sick day aligned with a Wednesday. I know Sylvia's had some resurgence on social media and her clips are going viral. She's a truly terrible human, but I was just so excited to see Sylvia on that chair next to Montel. And then Passions, because I was sick for a while. It was something, I think I was out for like 2 weeks. And I really got into that soap opera Passions. That was a wild ride. I think I've talked about it before, but it's just truly the most unhinged soap opera of all time. It's a big shame. It's no longer going on. And then, yeah, same thing, soup. That was big. I don't know if you're familiar with Giggle Soup.
No, tell me about Giggle Soup.
It's Lipton soup, but I think back in the 70s and 80s and even into the early 90s, and that's probably why I caught wind of it. I don't know, we're advertising it as Giggle Soup, and it just had fun shapes like stars and moons, and maybe they introduced other shapes, but I was just familiar with the stars and moons. And so it sounded so fun, like, give me some of that Giggle Soup. I don't know where the giggle came in. It was just cute shaped noodles. So that was a must have.
You'd be giggling, having so much fun eating the
Just
fun
cracking up
soup.
over my soup.
Yeah, there's moons in this.
Hysterical. What are they gonna pick up next? Crazy lifting, folks. And the broth truly looked like glow in the dark urine. But for whatever, I just loved to want to know what's in there.
I did have a lot of chicken noodle soup when I was sick, when I was little. I mean, I ate meat. I'm a vegetarian now or pescatarian now, but then chicken soup was big.
Yeah, chicken soup. I think I probably had some of that. Lots of stuff that came out of a can. And maybe, Matt, you were a kinder, more sweeter, humble child than I was because, and I think part of it is my mom finds validation in like the physical acts of love. So she would really love to pamper and whatnot. Not a big hugger, not a big like saying like, oh, I love you, yada, yada, but big on giving and making food and making my bed nice. So a freshly made bed was really big for me. I like love a clean bed when I'm sick. And I think because she would always change my sheets and whatnot, making sure I was so comfortable, now it's something I require as an adult.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're laying in them all the time and probably sweating a lot, so it's important to change those things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a basic necessity now that I'm like thinking back. Well, she's so nice for changing those sheets. But truly, I mean, like you said, we're at the mercy of parents. You could have said, like, let her sit in the for a little bit. But yeah, lots of good things to look forward to when you were not like terribly sick as a kid, but there's some bennies. And so a lot of memories that we have just through the foods we ate and the things that we watched. What's one of your core sick day memories as a kid?
For whatever reason, I couldn't think of anything that was really sticking out to me when I was sick as a little kid, but I'll never forget having mono in high school. And by the way, getting mono the most boring way possible. There was no smooching happening in my world. It was probably from some piece of cutlery. Anyway, so I'm really sick. It was awful. And at the time, Dreamgirls was out on home video. And so I rented the DVD, and I remember really struggling to stay awake while I was watching it. And I kept falling asleep every 10 minutes. Sorry to Dreamgirls, but because of that experience, I associate that movie with being deeply boring. Even
Mm.
though it was the mono, I was exhausted and falling asleep because I was sick. Somehow the association still sticks in my mind of like, oh, Dreamgirls, it's just a really dull movie because I can't stay awake watching it. And then the other one that sticks out to me is actually more recent. I had a really bad, just like you had a really bad last year, like a couple of years ago. I just got everything. It was like one thing after another. It was COVID, flu, and the flu really laid me out. And at that time, my husband was away, so I was home alone with the worst flu of my life. And one of the great memories from that was my husband sent me Gatorade and soup and a little care package, like from the pharmacy, just delivered it to my door. I'm not a DoorDash person, by the way. I don't do that. So like when that showed up at my door and I needed it so badly, I needed fluids and I needed any kind of easy to keep down food. It was so sweet and such a relief to not have to think about it or leave the house or wonder like, am I gonna have to get myself in the car and drive or order this myself? And it was just so thoughtful. And I really remember and cherish that care, just like having someone thinking of me and sending me stuff while I was really sick.
Yeah, there's such a relief, like you said, in not having to do something. And even opening the door to grab the Postmates is too much
Yeah,
when you're
depending on
sick.
how sick you are, like that could be difficult.
Yeah,
Sometimes you don't
and
even want to stray that far from the toilet. So it's like it can be really dicey to like get out there.
super dicey. Yeah, no, I hear that. And yeah, just the fact that you didn't have to ask and it just was done is super sweet.
Yeah.
I had a similar experience with my partner when we were first dating when they were working at NBC. So it's I was living in Highland Park and that's far from that area in LA traffic. And there's a farmer's market and I was super sick. And so she picked me up this really, I don't know, like intense LA juice and it was in a big glass jar and she drove all the way after from work to give it to me. And I thought that was
Mhm.
really sweet. Made a good impression.
Yeah.
The juice, not my fave. I don't love the celery, but beggars can't be choosers.
Did it cure you?
Unfortunately, no. The sweetness lingered, and it healed my heart. But yeah, it didn't heal me. That was a really rough one. But yeah, like when your partner's away, it's really hard to take care of yourself. So to have someone you can depend on from far away is really sweet. My other core memory, I had a different one I was going to talk about, but you talking about Dreamgirls and how that really colored your opinion of the movie. I remember when I had lice, All three of my sisters had lice. We were like, "I'm gonna turn this episode off. It's really disgusting. We're talking about toilets and lice." I remember sitting on the deck and my dad and my mom were just combing out her hair, and I heard them talking. They're like, "If this doesn't get better, we're just gonna shave their heads." I'm like, "Oh god." And so, my mom made my bed 'cause I had to change my sheets, and oddly enough, these like silk sheets, and then I had this little TV in my room, and it was some Candace Cameron movie, and maybe she was a cheerleader who got murdered or something. Now I'm talking about murder. Great. This is really going off the rails, but I mean, Candace Cameron, I don't want to offend anyone, but she's already on my list. So now I just associate her with lice. So she's definitely like way down on my list.
Did the murder mystery, like, shock the lice right off your head?
It was actually, yeah, pretty terrifying. I still can like see visions of it. I need to find out what that movie was. But yeah, I mean, anyone would be terrified for lice included. So maybe, yeah, maybe it cured my lice. But anyway, moving on from lice in the toilet, how do you prefer going forward to present day to take a sick day as an adult? Now that we're in charge, what are your essentials?
My essential, first and foremost, is liquids, and this is just from my mom really impressing upon me that if you're sick, you just have to be drinking all the time. And so I place hydration very highly when I'm ill. So I have to have a huge amount of water. Again, kind of off of the strain of like 7 Up somehow being medicinal in my mind. Orange juice also feels like if I just have that vitamin C, I'm fortified. There's a weird mental thing that I totally bought into Big Orange Juice's lobby of like their role
Never
in
mind.
curing sickness because of the vitamin C factor, right? So I always get orange juice when I'm sick. And I also, even when I'm starting to feel a little sick, I'll get orange juice and be like, I'm preventatively protecting myself. These are like just the irrational things that I stick to. I love getting soup, and it's just so easy to make soup when you're sick. Just crack that can open. I love a tomato soup when I'm not feeling well. A minestrone is nice as well. And I really love just like crumbling saltine crackers in there because no matter how sick I am, I can keep down saltines. And I just want to hunker down under a heavy blanket and watch something comforting, like a movie that I've seen a million times, like Lord of the Rings or something. That's kind of my blueprint for how I handle a sick day.
It's a very cozy blueprint, especially the part about watching a TV show that you find really comforting and watched a billion times. I don't want to watch anything new when I'm sick.
No, exactly. First of all, I don't want to make anything else the next Dream Girls. I've learned my lesson. Like, you watch something while you're sick, it's gonna not necessarily be the best viewing experience for that film or TV show. I want to nod off. My goal is to sleep. And so ideally, I'm watching something that I will not regret or feel any way about falling asleep during.
No, and there's something so cozy, that feeling of when you wake up and you're feeling a tiny bit better, that you actually feel really rested after a little nap
Mhm.
on the couch while your show's playing in the background. I would love to like bottle that moment because you can see the light at the end of the tunnel and you feel like your hunger is coming back a little bit and you can eat something.
Bottle that and pump it through Grand Central Station.
Yeah, 20 to 30 pounds. Yep. But yeah, I'm with you on the soup. Vegetable stock I always have in the house now. And if I'm feeling okay enough, I'll make it myself. I've learned it's actually like fairly easy, I think, from our soup episode. So, yep, just chop up a few vegetables or vegetables you don't even really have to chop, those pre cut mushrooms or already sliced carrots, and just throw it in with all your spices. And I try and put a lot of spice into it. Speaking of the vitamin C lobby, the spice lobby has really gotten me. I'm like, oh, I can kick it out of my system with a little spice. And that never works, just irritates my throat. But yeah, soft tissues, I mean, the basics, that's really essential to me because I always get sick with colds. Nothing else, just really terrible, awful colds. And so there's nothing worse than a raw nose. That sounds really gross. You can't have your raw nose. You have really soft tissues. Don't resort to the toilet paper, which I'm like typically doing because I don't have a stocked house of tissues, which I need to do. And then once again, a clean space. And I will pay top dollar for a clean space because when I was in New York and I got really sick in February, I couldn't take the flight home. Came on really quickly because I do believe it's a neurovirus. And so I was feeling okay in the morning. And as soon as I stepped in to check in for my flight, I was like, I cannot board this flight. I need to get out of here immediately. Not only for the other passengers, but simply because I probably pass out. And there's all these hotel options. And I picked the Hyatt because I thought to myself, I don't care how much it costs. I need to get into a clean bed. Like, I'll figure out how to pay for it later. I just need to get in a really nice, clean, quiet place. I paid the early check-in because they weren't accepting check-in at that time, and Vanderpump Rules was playing in the background. They were marathon on, so I was just in a really crisp sheets, super quiet. I didn't leave the room. I didn't think I ate for 2 days, and yeah, I that Vanderpump Rules, I just wake up and hear, like
That sounds like a fever dream.
no, it really was. It's the most unhinged thing to have in the back room, but I was truly that weak where I can't look for something else, like, the gods were looking down on me, at least is something that I fairly, enjoy, and that's great. I flipped this channel, this was on the TV, and it's had a bunch of Gatorade, and that was it, and I think if I went to a hotel that was, like, a little bit grungy or grimy, I think I just would have been so miserable. So, if you can swing it, if you're ever in, I don't know, probably not that situation I was in, but it's just good to have there's a clean space. I can't stress that enough.
I don't think I've ever heard of a bougier sick day than that one.
It really was, and I
I'm
paid a
feeling
pretty good
ill. I'm gonna go check into the Hyatt.
okay, so that was the old okay, so I was near
I know you
JFK.
were you were not home, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I was near JFK, and there was nothing really in the vicinity. That was the closest thing, like, I really couldn't physically be in a car for more than, a few minutes, and the sad and horrific part was that it was also part of a casino. So if you're ever near JFK and you wanna hit up a casino, a good one with all these restaurants, that's the place to go, and I love a casino, so I had to walk by and look at the casino and not play at the
When you were feeling
casino.
better, did you stop by on your way out?
My flight was so early in the
Yeah.
morning. I was like, "If I'm better, maybe I'll wake up really early at 5 and, like, hit the casino." But, yeah, I didn't. And then also, because it had the casino and all the restaurants, I didn't know they were charging me a resort fee. I think it was, like, 300 some odd dollars as a base, which, I mean, you could say, like, the Best Western Plus for they're getting up these prices, but with all the resort fees tacked on, all their other BS fees, I don't wanna say what it ended up being.
It made you sick all over again
It
looking at
made me
that
sick
bill, I'm
all over
sure.
again. So that was a really not everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, tell me more about your bill. I wanna hear."
Plus, I'm sure all the fees from hitting up the minibar, which I know you always do if you're in a
I
hotel,
love a
so
mini bar. Yes. That's one expense I'll spring for, won't buy any pants for 4 years, but I will do
Okay, Jillian, we need to get you, like, an at-home minibar. I think that would be, like in that guest bedroom that you're building out, it's almost done. You need to put, like, a little minibar in there for guests, but also mainly for you.
That's actually a really great idea. That would add a whole 'nother layer. I would definitely be emptying the mini bar and I guess would have nothing, but I think it's a cute feature. We're moving on from the Hyatt to a little bit of a lighter topic. So when you need a break, so let's just say when you're not so sick, you have to pay an absurd fee to stay in a hotel near JFK. Just need like a mental reset. What does that look like for you?
There are those days that we all need just to take a moment for our mental health, to slow down or what have you. There's a reason. You don't always have to be sick to your stomach to need to take a sick day. And for me, if I'm in that kind of burnt out place where I'm prioritizing my mental health and resting, first and foremost, I will be sleeping in. That's like the main thing I need to do on that day. And what I'd like to do is then see the sun and go and leave the apartment, take a walk to a lunch place that I like. And if I am feeling well enough and rested enough by that point, it is nice too to take advantage of those days and actually get a little bit ahead of some of the things that sort of wear you down throughout the week that you feel like you don't have time for because of work and other demands. So if I can clean the apartment or do some laundry and just make life a little easier for myself down the road because I have that time, I will.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea just to get ahead of things because taking the load off of worrying about something that you have to do and is on your list and just crossing it off with not feeling you're so under the gun to do it is really smart. And I do a similar thing of where I respond to text messages that I've been wanting to respond to, but just in the moment, like, oh, I'll get to this later, and then just forget that I was going to get to it later. So I catch up on correspondence with
Mhm.
family and friends, or, "Oh, I really wanted to check in with this person." They might not even had texted me, but like, "Oh, I wanna see what they're up to," and I'll do that. I'll clear my inbox, and then that feels really good, like, "Oh, I'm connected with people again," which is so important. And then cleaning, obviously, I love to be a workhorse around the home and clean and tidy up. clean the litter boxes, all that jazz. I love cleaning a litter box. There's just something so meditative about cleaning up the litter box.
You heard it here first. Jillian loves cleaning the litter box.
I do, yeah. Have me over, I'll do it for you. Yeah, and also being a little indulgent. Yeah, I prefer think I'm kind of a retail nut, and I really am not. I just love a little token here and there. So my doctor's office is in a hospital campus, so there's a gift shop there, and I'll pick up like after I get my blood drawn. They have the cutest little things. They had this little tiny cat statue wearing a pink robe with a towel on its head and pink star-shaped glasses for up. I don't know. So random and cute, and I just had to get it. And then most recently, Christmas cats. These little white cats with different colored garlands on them. And so I got those, some for my nephews as well. So I just like pick up a little token on my way out, just a little indulgent thing for getting through blood draw or something difficult. And I always do that. And then if I just need a mental reset, I'll take myself to the movies or solo sushi happy hour. I like to do things on my own when I need
Hmm.
like a mental break. I don't know if you're similar, but I don't want to be around people when I need a mental reset.
Oh, 100%. Yes. And I think seeing a movie by yourself is actually a great activity to reset because it does give you that sort of meditative time just to be alone, taking something in and not have that pressure even after the movie to discuss it or share any thoughts. It's just your own private experience and whatever thoughts you have about the movie are yours to cherish and enjoy on your own. It feels like kind of special, right? To kind of take yourself out on a little date, even just to go out to eat.
Absolutely. It's just a little treat and it's so different. It's like when your parents would take you out for a special thing that maybe your siblings didn't get to do, or maybe something you didn't do too often with your parent, take you out to dinner or something. It just feels, oh, this is a special occasion. And I think we need more solo special occasions and to
Yeah.
just take advantage of that.
Yeah, and on the topic of little tokens for doing things that feel like a chore or feel like they're not the most fun thing to do to begin with, like going to the doctor or something, I'm right there with you. Like, I will find any excuse to treat myself to like a bauble. Lately, I've gotten into a really bad habit of wanting to get a souvenir sweater at
Mm.
places because I tend to wear sweaters and hoodies like just when I'm lounging around the house, especially when it gets colder. And I'm always looking out for some thing that I'm planning on not wearing out and about, but just more just like wearing at home to lounge around in. But listen, you can't change your programming completely all the time. Like I am what I am. I'm an American kid. I grew up here where like I loved getting my Beanie Babies and my toys, and so it still feeds my soul as horrible as that sounds just to do a little bit of shop therapy.
No, I'm the same way, and I think there's something so delightful about going through your closet and then seeing a hoodie that you forgot that you had. You're like, "Oh, yeah, like, I bought it at that place," you know?
Mhm.
I went to CrimeCon and got a hoodie, and I'm never a hoodie buyer, really. But I'm like, "Oh, this would be a nice little thing," because you can reuse it, and if you're gonna spend your bucks, you wanna get on something that's durable, like you said, just to lounge around the house in and you're feeling cold or whatever, just to relax in. It's nice to have an array of hoodies.
And next time I'm sick, I can wear that to
Yes, exactly.
feel comfy.
No, you can never have too many hoodies. I went to Meow Wolf. I also got a cute little hoodie thing in Denver, and so maybe we're on the same page getting hoodies. We're hoodie folks. Well, let's round out this discussion with our top 3 pieces of advice for crafting a cozy sick day. And we already touched on this, but let's get the quick and dirty on a sick day.
This was gonna make us sick to begin with, and we're
The
doing
quick
things
and
quick and dirty.
snotty. You can kick it off, Matt.
My first piece of advice when it comes to crafting a cozy sick day is that wherever you rest, make sure that it's next to a nightstand or a coffee table with plenty of space. You're going to need a place for all the things that you want close at hand: your tissues, your medication, your beverages, a book, a place to set your glasses, the remote control. So there's all these things you have to have nearby because you do not want to get up. It might be physically painful to move. So get all that stuff close to you and make sure you have those spaces in your living area where like next to your bed you have a nightstand where you can rely on that being there and using it, or a nice large coffee table, things like that. That's one thing you can prepare for when you're buying furniture. Make sure you have those pieces for when you're sick.
Yeah, limit all movement. I agree. My first piece of advice is don't try to do anything other than taking care of yourself. So it bleeds into your piece of advice, Matt. So when we're idle, there's always this temptation to do because we're at home and there's this mechanism in us. It's always go, go, go. You have to be productive all the time, whether it's cleaning or taking care of an errand. But just remember your number one job is to take care of you. And that's it. Everything else can wait. There's no need to do, and you can't do anything if you're sick. So focus on getting better.
Absolutely. I second that fully. And speaking of seconding, here's my second piece of advice, which is to bring the bedroom into the living room if you can. My coziest sick days are when I'm able to ensconce myself in pillows and blankets and where I can just poke my head out to watch TV or read a book, but otherwise I am completely covered up. That's when I feel the coziest when I'm sick and I feel protected and safe. And I highly recommend just like making the couch your bed for those times if you're not putting anyone out in the process.
Yeah, you have to have a cozy space while you're trying to watch Dreamgirls
Exactly.
in and out of sleeping. And Matt, my next piece of advice touches on something that you discussed with your husband sending you some resources while you were sick. It's important to ask for help. And next can be really hard for people. But if you don't have the energy to set up a freshly made bed, if you have a partner, ask them, or a roommate, or if you're nearing an important deadline, don't hesitate to ask a coworker to tap in. Or if you have groceries, ask a friend to drop off some. I think it's important to remember that people want to take care of you. You're not a burden, and they'll be there for you, and you would do the same for them. So don't be a soldier and suffer when you're sick. Try and reach out to folks, and they'll help you out.
Yes, engage your cozy community.
Yes.
And speaking of coziness, my final piece of advice, and this is another one that you can prepare for ahead of time, which is to make sure you have a heating pad or a heated blanket. I could not have survived the flu or COVID if I did not have my heating pads or blankets because those were both illnesses where I had awful chills and it was terrible. I was so cold. And the only thing I could find any small comfort in was the heating pad and the heated blanket that I had. And I'm so glad I had those. So make sure you have those ready for when you're sick and have chills.
That's really smart. There's nothing worse than feeling the ache of cold in your bones while you're in your own home.
Right.
That's the worst. And yeah, the holidays are coming up, so I think that'd be a perfect gift. And you get them for pretty cheap, so
Yeah.
it's a hot tip.
No pun intended.
Yeah, don't pun intended. My last tip is to eat whatever you want. There are all these rules about don't eat dairy when you have a cold, only eat healthy, warm things that are good for you, hydrate, yada, yada. And yeah, maybe you should hydrate. Don't cross that off the list. But the reality is your body just needs to recharge. And so if you want to get a pizza, I think the important thing is to eat and have fuel. The more I eat when I'm sick, the quicker I recover. Your body just needs energy. So don't worry if you're eating unhealthy, quote unquote, when you're sick. There's so much pressure to eat well when you're sick, but fire up that Postmates, get some greasy rice. Like I go for it. You're sick. Why not? Just to eat and try and feel better.
100%. Your body knows what it wants, so listen to your body in terms of what it's asking you to put in it. And we are not medical professionals.
No.
Do not take our advice. Always do your own research and talk to your doctor before you make any decisions. But we're just sharing our own personal experience and things that help us. Because I do want to say, when I was sick, I had like tinned sardines or whatever because I was looking for omega-3 fatty acids because I had read like that they're really good for you when you're not feeling well. I swear, like as soon as I had some sardines that were like oily and fatty, I felt so much better. I really started to actually finally recover. And my body was craving something substantial. So it goes back to your point about listen to your cravings and look at things that like are going to have those ingredients that will actually help your body heal.
Yeah, there's something about being sick and craving salty, greasy. I guess that when you're hungover, that's what you want. So,
Hmm.
I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Matt, our noses are a bit stuffy still, but I have an idea how to clear it up. A soothing candle review.
Oh no, I hope no one starts a change.org petition.
Good for you. Yeah. So this week I have the candle review. My candle that I have this week is Big Dipper Waxworks' clove and chamomile from their winter garden line. And something about winter garden line just rings so beautifully. And the description for this candle is wrap yourself in cozy stillness with our winter garden beeswax candle tin. Clove chamomile, 2.7 ounces. This warm, comforting blend layers gentle chamomile with a soft touch of clove, creating a calming herbal spice aroma that feels like a blanket and a book. Compact and giftable, it's perfect for nightstands, travel, stockings, and winter self care rituals. So that really played into the theme of today's episode. So I thought it was perfect. And the price is $9.99. So that's pretty good because I think we've been
That's a
hitting
great
some,
price.
yeah, more heavy hitting candles that are a little bit pricier. So I wanted to take down the price and do something super attainable. And once again, perfect with the chamomile. The clove was a little bit overpowering at first, as clove is. I think if we go back for episodes, there's going to be 1,000 clips of me saying clove was really powerful. But it is. That said, the chamomile came through really strongly as well. And it was something that I don't think I've ever really sniffed before in a candle. It does smell like a chamomile tea bag with some spices thrown in. And if it was a candle. So if a tea bag was a candle, this would be it. And it has a beautiful design on it of lovely flowers. So it's a great tin if you want to reuse it because the design is so lovely and cute. And I want to get other candles from the Winter Garden line. There's a few. And so I really highly recommend this, whether you're sick or not. Wick up for me.
Yeah, these tins are really attractive. Like they're in such rich colors and beautiful flower designs that are outlined in gold. Everything about the design of these is really pleasing to the eye. And the scent mixtures sound very therapeutic and calming. I think this is a great pick. And also you can't argue with a $9.99 candle, like a tin like this. It is a great stocking stuffer. This is a great choice.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. So pick that up and give it to a friend for the holidays or do it for yourself. So we're feeling rejuvenated now and on the mend after taking a much needed sick day. But just to be sure that we're fully healed, let's take one last dose of positivity with a Patreon shout out to Corey. Thank you so much for supporting the show, Corey. And you can follow Corey's lead at patreon.com/allthingscozy.
Yes, thank you very much to Corey for supporting our show. Again, you can follow her lead by, as Gillian said, joining us on Patreon. You can also keep up with us on social media. We are at All Things Cozy Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and at All Things Cozy on Blue Sky. We'll be back in your ears with a brand new cozy episode and a couple of festive guests. I think you can hear the jingle bells jangling as they're making their approach for their annual visit down the chimney, down the All Things Cozy chimney. So longtime listeners will know who's on their way. And they're making their lists on Letterboxd and checking it twice. So we'll be back in your ears in a couple more weeks with a brand new cozy episode. Until then, stay healthy and
Stay cozy.